Hello, hello. Good evening and happy Sunday, everyone. This is Christina with the Mamathon Diaries, your productivity coach, here this evening for a Sunday night Q&A. You can call it setting ourselves for the week. Good evening. You can call it getting your productivity life together, whatever you desire. I'm here this evening to do some question and answer. Okay. I hope you guys' week has been amazing so far, that your weekend has been euphoric. Okay. I'm hoping y'all got some rest. I did not. I just want everybody to know I did not, but for all the greatest reasons. I was really honored to facilitate some different workshops this weekend. My husband and I had to speak at a conference for a local nonprofit here. They were having their launch conference weekend. So we were there speaking about family life and productivity and your family vision. And then on Saturday, I was in Birmingham with a good friend of mine, Yolanda Chandler, and her co-founder. Jennifer, and we were there for the Black Homeschoolers of Birmingham Homeschooling Summit, their third year doing this event. So we were just moving around a lot. Do you hear me? A whole lot. And I was so excited to be there yesterday to facilitate. Someone else said no rest, but I had a good time. I feel like that counts. Like if you're tired from doing good things or things that you actually enjoyed, that's the best kind of tired there is. Okay. So tonight, we're going to be talking just for a little while about productivity, about organizing your busy world, about the questions that a lot of the ladies had yesterday at the homeschooling summit. Okay. If you're new here, if you're finding me for the first time, sis, where have you been? I'm Christina. I am your productivity coach. I am the voice in the back of your mind, reminding you that you're allowed to slow down, that you're allowed to plan your life in accordance with the things that you want, that you need, that you desire. And then on top of that, we're able to fill our lives with so much beauty and so much excitement that we have a opportunity in this life, in this world, to create something beautiful, okay? To create something incredible. And so this evening, as I started to think about what in the world was I going to talk about, okay? Let me get my plant adjusted here because she seems to want to work with my hair wrap. Y'all see that? Okay. I was thinking about what I was going to talk about tonight, okay? We are resurrecting, making sure that every Friday at noon, we're doing our master classes, lunch and learns, whatever you all want to call them, to feed you all, to make sure that you have the information that you need. But then on top of that, we also love to connect with you guys and talk to you throughout the week about how are we planning for success. Somewhere along the way, we felt as though success was just going to line up accordingly, that your family, your friends, your schedule was going to begin to sync and work out so that you could become the woman that you've been dreaming of becoming. It's just going to happen. They told you to manifest. You sat there, you thought about it really hard, but then when you came out of it, when you were done meditating, when you were done with all the jazz, you looked around and everything in your house was still exactly the same. It was still exactly the same. You prayed about it. Okay. Even though you prayed, you looked around and God was like, there's some things that are going to be in your pocket to do. Okay. And so as I talked yesterday at the homeschooling summit, and the ladies were just had the best questions. They were so engaged and just fabulous. And I just enjoyed them so very much. I wanted to take some time tonight to go through some of the questions that they had for me, the productivity coach. I'm like the Olivia Pope for working moms. Okay, now Olivia Pope doesn't know that I call myself this, but it's just what I know to be true. Okay, so because of that, they had some really incredible questions about how to balance, how to create the flow, how to move some things around so that they felt like they were being the best version of themselves. Okay. They wanted to make sure, they wanted to lean in to how do I need to do things? How do I need to change myself? How do I need to pivot? Okay. We want to make sure that we're stepping in and becoming that person. And it is okay if every now and then we have some work to do in these areas. It's okay if every now and then you have some work to do in these areas. So what we have to do is take a step back. Okay. It is okay for you to step back and honor where you are and where you are going. And so this evening, for a little bit, we're going to talk about what their questions were. Okay. If you have not yet tagged a mama, shared with a mama, sent her this information, I want to encourage you to go ahead and do that, because we're going to go into some of the amazing questions that they had. Okay. And the reason it was so great was because there are an insurmountable, it seems, obstacles to us building the life we want. Now, I was at a homeschooling summit, right? And I was talking about productivity and wellness, but what I really wanted to focus in on for them as people was, hey, listen, you got this. You're special. You're important too. This isn't just about your kids and what's best for your children. It's also about what you want for yourself. That you have the capacity and the availability to build something that you love in your life that you're proud of. Mamathon, what we're doing in this community, I'm proud of that, right? Where the brand is going, I'm proud of it. The women I coach, I'm proud of that. The standards that we have for coaching clients, I'm proud of that. You have to be a woman who knows what she wants. You have to be somebody that knows the direction of your dreams. You have to be somebody who loves God and loves your family. You have to be someone who's not anti-man. All right? I don't want to coach women that don't like men. I don't want to coach anybody who's against the family structure, who feels like that man's going to just slow you down. Right? So what we're working on doing is answering questions. We're working through the obstacles, because sometimes all it takes is like the key going into the lock for you to realize, oh snap, I do have what it takes, and this is what I need to do differently. I do have what it takes. This is how I need to make this happen. Okay. You do have what it takes. Your goals are available to you. This life is available to you. What you see for yourself, you can have it. It's all possible, but you will have to restructure some stuff. You're going to have to fix up your thoughts. You're going to have to fix up that messy schedule. You're going to have to fix up how you say yes to things you don't really want to say yes to. We're going to have to fix this up. We're going to have to unpack a lot of things. Sometimes we have stuff in our book bag, right? And every woman they come to, good evening, ladies, they come to the discovery call, or they come to the coaching calls, and they have a very heavy book bag. They have a lot of things that are sitting in their backpack, and they're trying to figure out, Christina, what do I do with all of these things? So then they take what's in the bag and they just dump it out, right, on our virtual desk, and we move it around and we figure out what we're doing with it and where it's going. Okay. So here are some of the really great questions that the ladies had for me at the conference during our session. It was so powerful. I'm not sure if they recorded all of it. I think the audio will be available, et cetera, et cetera. But it was an amazing homeschooling event, but it was so much more than just homeschooling. It was about loving your family. It was about writing your own rules. It was about learning how to create a trajectory and knowing what your journey was for your family. We all need that. There were husbands there. There were grandparents there. You know, those who just want what's best for these kids, right? How in the world do I do that? How do I move towards this goal? Okay. So here are some of the questions that the ladies have for me that I thought were just so good. I live on Q&A. You hear me? Like, pick my brain, please. And so here's some of the things. Number one, it was so good. One of the questions was, how do you exit being the primary problem solver in your family? She said, every single time something goes missing, something needs to get done, I have to do X, Y, and Z, everyone always calls me. She said, it is so hard for me to rest, to chill, to step away, because whenever something needs to get done, something gets misplaced, I'm always the person that everybody calls. What in the world do I do about that? Okay. And so I Ask her to analyze, okay? Because a lot of times we're so disorganized that disorganization looks normal, chaos becomes normal. Things being all over the place becomes normal. Looking for things for 15 minutes, 20 minutes becomes normal. Having stuff that's everywhere, normal. Okay. And so we don't even realize the ridiculous amount of time that we spend looking for stuff. Looking for stuff. And of course, because you're the mom, you're the one that they're asking to find it. Don't you know? Aren't you that person? And because you're that problem solver, people are always looking for mom. Okay. So, one of the things that I asked for this homeschooling mom to do was to prayerfully reset her home. Okay. That usually starts with just one, I repeat, one room at a time. Now, often when we think about getting organized, we want to have a Yanla. We want to have the home edit people, all these folks from Netflix come in and fix our entire house. But that's not always doable. Okay. Here's what is doable: picking one room at a time. There's a book called The House That Cleans Itself by Mindy Starnes Clark. This one particular section was so profound to me because she was talking about organizing your favorite space first. Okay. Everyone has a space in their home where when it is clean and together, it looks wonderful. When it's disorganized, you wonder if anybody in your family even cares anything about you. Okay. That particular space for Christina is my living room and dining room. Okay. So what I do is almost always those two rooms are together. Maybe not every single day, maybe not all the time, but those two rooms are together. All right. So what I'll do is it's so easy for me to reset those areas when things have gotten out of control. We've gotten busy. It takes 10 minutes to get it back to the way that it was. Okay. In the same way, many of you need to pick your home base zone. You need to pick the area of your home that is your favorite and organize it. Buy a new plant, get an oil diffuser, move the piles of paper, mail, etc. Put it where it needs to go. Get it out of the way. Start with that one room, your favorite room. And then after that, you can move on to others. Here's what I wanted her to understand. We spend and waste so much time looking for things because chaos and disorganization has become our normalcy. It's just normal at this point. I don't know where it is. Do you know where it is? Nope. Let's tear the house apart looking for it. And so once we step into an elevated level of being organized and having some more things together, doesn't mean perfect. It might be one room at a time. However, it's going to help you so much with looking for things, feeling more like your best self because you really love your space. And then eventually, your organized space is going to move from your favorite room in the house to your favorite room and then the dining room. Your living room, dining room, then your bedroom, right? But if you have this one area buckled down, it's not so hard to feel like you have it together. My kitchen can look any kind of way. Can I come and sit on my couch, relax without things seeming chaotic? Okay. So that was helpful for her because she had been operating in things have been all over the place for so long. It's like now I need to rework some things and fix it. Okay. So that was her question. How do you exit being the primary problem solver? Another thing that I advised her about was that some of us have been the person that put out fires for years. Good evening. Some of us have been the person that solves problems for others for years, not months. We're talking 5 years, 10 years, 20 years of being the problem solver. You're the person that everyone has always called. You're the person that everyone always needs. Of course, once you have a family now, you're used to being the one that people call on. But maybe, just maybe, At this current age in our life, 30, 35, 45, 50, whatever age you are, maybe just maybe now is the time that you choose to move in the right direction. You choose to take back a yes that you didn't want to give away. Okay? You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to say, you know what, this isn't working for me anymore. I no longer want to be the only person with the answer. Here's how I'm going to delegate that over to you. Here's how I'm going to take this off my list and give it to somebody else. Okay? So that's number one, leaving being the primary problem solver in your home. I have seen over the course of time that many of us do not teach our families critical thinking skills. As a productivity coach, I have seen over the course of time how many of us as women do not teach our families critical thinking skills. These skills are the ability to problem solve when we are not around, to execute on tasks so that the house of cards doesn't come caving in as soon as we step off the premises. You guys can handle this. We haven't always taught those skills. Because of that, everyone, of course, they're calling you. Of course, they want you. Of course, they need you. You're the only person that can solve it. So we have to begin to undo that. Okay. Number two, someone asked about one of my phenomenal sisters from the Homeschool Legal Defense Association, Miss Lanisser. She asked a question about children complaining. Kids complaining. Okay. And what she talked about was how, you know, her children are getting older. They're from like 20 something down to first grade. But she said, I have kids who, you know, I'm doing all the things, but they are not responding in kind to help out around the house. If I ask them to do stuff, they're complaining about it, or they're moaning and groaning, or they have an attitude, they feel some kind of way. I said, oh, this is such a good question. So one of the things that I told her or told the room was that it's okay for you not to want to do something. It is okay for you to not want to do something. Okay. You are allowed to not like sweeping, to not like cleaning the kitchen, to not enjoy any of your chores. You're allowed to not feel like that. You are, though, not allowed to disrespect me while you do it. Okay. You're not allowed to disrespect me while you do it. Let's just get this ironed out right now. Okay. So in the midst of that, what I had to teach my children, one particular child in particular, was that if you have a problem with or an attitude when I asked you to switch gears from relaxing around the house and doing random things, if you have a problem with me asking you to do that, then I need to reconsider all of the privileges that you have around this house. We had a conversation. No one got swung on. No whippings were given. No punishments needed. It was like, listen, you have so many amazing privileges around this house. I'm wondering why you have an attitude about helping out and contributing to the house when you reap so many benefits from this family relationship. And when he realized that his behavior was dictating that he needed less privileges, he tightened up. Okay. So there was a very minimal conversation that had to be had. We didn't have to go back and forth or throw any bows, right? In order to make that happen. So it was very restful. It was a different ball game. Okay. So that was how I saw my children complaining. Now we have a scriptural policy in our house that Philippians 2:14, it says, do all things without grumbling or disputing. Okay. If you have problems with your kids complaining, arguing, that's how you snuff out that problem. I had my children get some soapy water, go to the hallway, any hallway in our apartment when they were smaller, hallway in our house now, and you got to wipe. You have to wash y'all nasty prints off the walls while you say, do all things without grumbling or disputing. And if you decide that you're going to bring the attitude back again, you'll be right back here again, washing the walls and saying, do all things without grumbling or disputing. It passes the gentle parenting uh, uh, benchmark. Okay. And it allows you to teach them a new lesson. You guys get to work together, not fight. Okay. So that's one of the ways that we solve kids and complaining. Wow, 20 minutes. I'm going to wrap up soon. Okay. Number 3 was so profound. One of the moms, she was sitting there and she said, "Thank you for this." And she told me that she herself struggled so much with finishing tasks. She said, "I struggle so much with being a finisher," right? One of the things that I always talk about is when we are communicating to our loved ones, to our children, that we can feel a subconscious hypocrisy. Okay. A subconscious hypocrisy because we ourselves are not good finishers. Okay. You start a project, you quit. You start the blog, you stop writing on it. You work on the business, you change businesses. You start working on training for a race or a 5K, you stop. Like, we have a lot of things often littered around us that are unfinished tasks that we don't get the chance to go in and check it off. Baby, you did that. You finished, you completed, you did exactly what you said you were going to do. Sometimes us as women, us as wives, as mothers, we struggle with being a strong finisher to the point where we can no longer challenge our kids to be finishers because we ourselves don't do it very well either. So then we step back and we say, "You know what? I know you didn't finish it like you were supposed to. I'm just going to go ahead and take care of this. I really don't want to have the conversation with you again and again. I'm just going to let it go and do it myself. This is good enough. I'm not going to bring it up again." Okay. We have these symptoms that leak out of us on accident, even. It's like a subconscious hypocrisy. We don't even realize that we're being hypocrites. It's like your children, you go in their room and say, "Oh my gosh, your room is so messy, you need to clean your room." Right? And then they say, "But mama, your room is not clean." And then you get to say, "You know what? Be quiet. I'm grown. I'm grown. Don't talk to me like that." Okay? That's what we do. This is how we act. And because we're grown and we're the grown up, we get to set the rules in the house and all of this. We are allowed to do these things. However, I want you to know right here, right now, that it can be very challenging. Good evening. Very challenging to teach your children to be a finisher if all of your projects are sitting there collecting dust and you're struggling with being a finisher. That's an inner work. That's something internal that we have to unearth and look at. In what ways am I not finishing? In what ways am I not executing like I should? In what ways am I taking a step back? I'm not giving it all I could. In what ways am I half serving myself? So, of course, my kids struggle in these areas. It is an inner self-sabotage that we do, which slows us down from challenging other people. Challenging other people to love us like we're supposed to. Hi, Tramika. Thank you for being here. It slows us down. So there's nothing like a full authenticity, right? I talked to she's a therapist, okay, and she's came to me about coaching, and we were just talking through what she needed, where she was. I have at least 5 mental health, good evening, mental health professionals, therapists, psychologists, counselors, you name it, who come to me for coaching. Okay. And you would think to yourself, let's just map this out. You would think to yourself, they have all the tools to be emotionally successful. Right? They have everything that they need to execute well and to do everything they need to do all of this. Why would they need to talk about productivity and all the other stuff and being well, taking care of themselves? It's because a lot of times we know what we're supposed to do, but we don't follow through well on it for ourselves. We know what we're supposed to do. You tell people all the time, girl, take care of you. Girl, take a break. Do this, do that. But when it comes to you, you're still showing up, doing all the things. Okay. So we got to look for these subconscious imbalances. And I told her, it was a great conversation. And I know I kind of got her a little bit because, I was like, listen, I was like, sometimes I said, we tell other people all the right things. I said, we tell other people all the right stuff. I said, but when it comes to ourselves, we slow down. And she was like, you know what? You're right. I said, there's a subconscious hypocrisy and internal hypocrisy that we feel that keep us from being our optimal level of success because we're not self-aware enough to see it. And so she was a therapist. I have multiple other therapists, right, who are in our circle who come in like, Christina, one of them reached out to me at 11 o'clock at night and was like, Christina, fix my life. Because I'm not a therapist. I'm not here to talk to you about your childhood. I'm here to help you create a better one for your kids because you need productivity and strategy. How are we going to layer together all these plans, all of these initiatives, all your self-care and your business growth and all these layers of your life? I'm here to intersect the layers. I'm not here to talk about who traumatized you. We can identify it, but then we're going to move forward, right? So even therapists, I have a doctor, psychologist client, right? Multiple therapists, multiple counselors, like 5 or 6. So this isn't like 1 or 2 people who are like, okay, Christina, like there's a imbalance here. There's some kind of disconnect. You said there's some kind of disconnect here. I'm trying to be this person. I'm this person for everybody else. But in my own life, I feel stuck. And so it keeps us from growing as high as we could, right? Because we're like, I know I'm telling other people this, but I'm not doing it for me. So there's a discontinuance there. Okay. I'm identifying it specifically tonight in how we talk to and love on our children and families. Okay. So Jen, hey girl, she says that's me today. Everyone in the house wanting one-on-one time, and I still have my business activity to do. It happens. It does. And so a few minutes ago, I was talking about being the primary problem solver in our homes and our families, where nobody feels like they can handle putting out fires without us there. Okay. So we got to restructure stuff so that everyone feels empowered. It's not micromanaging, right? It's like, I want to empower you, children, empower you, husband. Husband already, if you're married, husband already has the power. You might just need to step back and release it. Say, I'm fine with whatever decisions you choose to make. That might be what you have to do. That might be your adjustment. I don't know what y'all having for dinner. I don't know what y'all is doing. Babe, throw the kids in the bed at any time. I'm going live at 9, right? We got to be okay sitting with the changes we need to make so we can grow. Because if we're disorganized, I have found across the board, if we're disorganized in 1 or 2 areas of our life, it usually trickles over to multiple other areas. Multiple other areas. Okay. So we have everybody who's pulling on us, everyone who wants us. I have subconsciously trained you to want me for everything. Yeah. Like we can just own that. Sometimes we've given some yeses that we didn't want to give. Sometimes we've given some no's when we really wanted to say yes. Sometimes we stay. We really want to go. Just take a break. Just go and breathe. 2 hours for me at Starbucks, Jen, is like a whole day at home. Right? Like if I could just leave here for 2 hours and go there and work, everything that's been floating around in my mind will get done. But sometimes we don't put a bubble around the things that we need to do. Okay. So we end up becoming the problem solver. I got it. I'll take care of it. Let me put that fire out. No problem. Y'all feel overwhelmed by that? I'm not overwhelmed by that, even though you really are. I want to take care of it. I'm that person. Okay. So we have to just own up to it. So number one was exiting being the primary problem solver. Okay. Number two was kids and complaining. Okay. Like, how do I stop my children from complaining? For us, we used Philippians 2:14, do all things without grumbling or disputing. Okay. And if they were arguing, they had to recite that scripture while washing my walls and saying it together as a team. And it took arguing away in our house very quickly. Very quickly. The kids stopped fighting. Why? Because they didn't want to wash walls and recite scripture. That's what we did. It works. I told one of my other clients, she's an architect, and I was like, "Listen, this is how you get your kids to stop fighting." And then she was screenshotting, she was sending me photos of her kids washing. I was like, "Listen, the house don't even have to be dirty for this to work." I said, "You have your kids get like toothbrushes and brush the grout in the bathroom. Just be petty with it. Wipe the baseboards with a toothbrush." Your children will stop fighting. Every time they come back to it again, you know what? I don't like you neither. Do all things, and they're gonna say without grumbling or disputing. It's gonna be like a PTSD, the good kind. I don't want to go back and wash the baseboards with a toothbrush. So we're gonna get along. And so now my twin son who's 13, he just loves on and coddles around with his two younger siblings who are 8 and 5, right? They're like the Three Stooges, or Pinky and the Brain and Brain Jr. They're like all very diabolical, building things and making stuff explode. They're those kind of people. And then I've noticed my 13-year-old daughter and my 15-year-old son stay up late at night and talk. They just stay in the room, and I can hear them talking about like college, and is she gonna pledge Zeta or Delta, and like all these like life facts. Is what they do now, right? But a couple years ago, I really had to lay into them. Like, I'm not living in a house full of commotion and pettiness and all this other stuff. I just can't do it. Okay. So that was what I did. All right. Kids and complaining. Nobody wants to live with those people. Jen, I'm not a Delta, but if I was something. All right. Okay. So number one was exiting being the primary problem solver. Number two was kids and complaining. And then number three was a mama. It was so beautiful. She even got emotional, right? As she shared. And she's it was so funny. She said, "I don't know why I'm crying right now." In the session, in the conference room, I was like, "Listen, I just have that effect on people." I was like, "I just do. I do." Most of us have been looking for someone who gets it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've been looking for, hi, Mama Talisi, looking for somebody that understands what it's like to do all the things and to feel overwhelmed by it. I am the walking poster child for that. You know, I try to be very authentic about my overwhelmed journey, my burnout journey, where I've come from, what we're building next. Like, all these amazing things that are coming next are on the other side of my burnout. They came on the other side of me creating a plan, on the other side of me asking for help, on the other side of it. I didn't just become this person. Like, I had to do a lot of intentional work. I had to get coached, become a better coach, work on my own relationship so I could help y'all work on yours. So there was such a peace in her voice. Like, she was like, "Thank you for this." Because she didn't realize that this is all totally a thing. Like, we don't see that everybody else in the world has the same challenges that we do. In fact, the Bible says that there's no sin that is not common to all men. Like, we're all living a very human experience. A very human experience. You're a human being. You're a woman. I'm taking this all women watching tonight. Every now and then a gentleman sneaks in. But we're all women who love God and love our families and want to serve well. And we want to grow businesses and brands and platforms that we're proud of. We want to have goals that become accomplished. And I don't want to wait until my children go away to college to do it. I want to be fully me now. So she didn't realize that, like, okay, listen, there are people out here, like everybody feels like they are the anomaly. They're the alien. They're the strange person coming with all these problems. I'm like, sis, I heard these problems this morning. We are all the same. All the same. And so she was so relieved that she just emotionally expressed, I didn't realize that I struggle with finishing. She's like, I just didn't realize I was that person. No wonder my kids don't finish stuff. She said, I'm thinking, we made this list and we did these goals and we have our family mission statement and we have all of these things. And I was wondering like what the disconnect was. And I was like, sis, the disconnect is in here. The disconnect is the woman that we are trying to produce a result that we're not doing internally yet. That's a disconnect. Ask me how I know. I had to work on it. I had to grow. I had to change. I had to adjust myself. I had to pour in who I needed to become in order to make that happen, right? And then having coached and supported hundreds of mothers, not like 5 or 10, okay? Hundreds of moms on different continents. We are now going into year 8 of the Momathon conference in Atlanta this October. I am moving to a place, I'm like, okay, this is all we do. Like, this is just our life. Levi is 5, at least for the next decade. I'm going to be doing this work because it needs to be said. It needs to be explored. We need to be able to have a place where we can just have the deep breath. Where we allow ourselves to say, you know what? I really felt like I was the only person whose family life was like this. Evidently, Christina said, I'm not. And I don't have a reason to lie to you to make you feel better. You're not the only person who struggles with procrastinating, with trying to figure out how do I, like Jen, do my business stuff and spend time with y'all. How do I make sure my husband feels loved and supported and championed for while I build? How do we make sure we stay unified as a family while I build? How do I make sure I'm taking care of my inner parts while I build? Because having big ideas and big dreams and big hopes for yourself, you got to have a different strategy. I don't care what the premise is. There was a young lady I met. I went to one of my clients. She's running for public office again. And I went to one of her fundraisers, and we were sitting there, and I sat down with some other ladies who I didn't really know like that, but I sat down and said, hey ladies, how y'all doing? And one of the young ladies who was sitting there, she said, oh my gosh, I just followed you on the internet. And I was like, did you really? She's like, yeah. And she was like, do you only coach moms? And I was like, what do you do? And she's a lawyer. And I was like, send me a message. Like we might be able to play around a little bit, right? And just get to know each other better. But it was the amazing idea that it's so needed, not just that transitioning and making pivots and changes is beautiful in every season. In every season, but it's okay if you need that extra leg up, that extra bit of support while you do it, okay? So we have to master finishing. We have to master finishing. We have to master being somebody who starts a task, making decisions about the person that we're going to be. What do I need to accomplish it? Who needs it from me, right? Like every time I make the choice to show up here, it's because I know somebody needs to know they're not an anomaly. You're not broken. Your life isn't broken. Your kids are normal. Your husband is great. He's also normal. Like, these are all things that happen as you shift as a person. But what's not supposed to happen is you growing apart from your family while you do it. There's a hustle culture push that's happening right now where if your husband says, baby, I just want you to come to bed on time, it's he doesn't support you. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Girl, just leave him. He's not for you because he doesn't do what? Work all day, then come home and cook? That means he's not it? Like, is this the qualification now? Oh, you married a child? That is one surefire way for me to not want to coach you, is if you tell me that your husband is like your extra child because he married you. And if he marries you, then that must mean he did something good, correct? That's where we got to find the new happy medium, the new groove. Okay. So, what we do here very intentionally is we bring all of your plans together, your self care, mental health, and wellness plan, your I want my house to be organized plan, your marriage plan, your mom plan, your business and career plan. We bring all of these plans together to synergize them, to layer them so that it works. Okay. Otherwise, you're always going to feel like you're at odds with one thing or another. You're going to feel like I can't step away and be this person because I dropped the ball here or I dropped the ball over here. There are all these reasons why my plans are not working. They're not coming together. And so this is where the work is. This is where the work is. Okay. So I'm going to grab my book. Here are our handful of questions she asked about being the primary problem solver in the family. And I talked about how we need to take off the handcuffs that have chained us to wanting to be the problem solver all the time. Okay, unpack that, the reasons why we feel like we need to be that person. It's okay for us to let that go. Number 2, kids and complaining. My thought is you have so many privileges being in this house. Those can go away. If you have a problem with being a support agent here too, we can just take some of your privileges away. How do you feel about that? The problem should lessen. And then finally, working on becoming a finisher, being the type of woman, the type of mom, the type of business owner, the type of career savant, the type of wife who sees a task, sees a need, and finishes it. That you work on things that are important to you. That you work on things that you love, that are precious to you, that are important. That you lean into that and you learn to love the decisions that you make surrounding it. Okay. That is the ultimate completion. For me, going live and being live, even right now, is the ultimate completion for me. It's like, okay, I had this in my mind today to do this. I worked out. I ate healthy for dinner. I went live, right? Like, those are the 3 things I really had in my heart to do today. Okay. That was for me. For everybody else, it might be something different, but you have to figure out how you're going to layer all the plans. Okay. So my husband didn't feel like he was missing anything today, right? My kids all felt loved, secured, talked to, laughed with today. Okay. And I was able to step away and do what I needed to do without feeling any kind of way about it. I don't know what y'all eating for dinner. There's chicken in there. You can heat it up. And they made their own stuff, right? The problem, the issue was solved without my interference. So that's what we're working on building, so that, like Jen, if you have a business, if you have, you're working on your career, you got certain things, deliverables that you need to be present for. Every single one of us has a different type of list. Most of us have the same problem, different list. Okay. So you're able to, though, integrate those plans together so that it works. Every single week, I'm honored. I get to coach really bomb women, right? Everybody has a different schedule. Everybody has a different need. It's okay. I'm working now on what is our homeschooling schedule going to look like, because my kids are much more hybrid now. So they go somewhere to learn algebra and pre-algebra, the twins. Hi, Lude. Doing math. And then on Thursdays, we go to a homeschooling co-op all day from like 9:30 to 2. Okay. Where they take science, history. My daughter's taking drama this year, stuff like that, forensic science. Like they're doing stuff like that at the co-op. It helps me because they usually put together enough homework assignments that I don't have to find a whole bunch of other things, but I still have to be present and accounted for and all the other stuff. Okay. So now I'm looking at my schedule like, okay, we're coaching Tuesdays, we're coaching Fridays, we can coach half day, third. Like, what is that going to look like for my clients, my client load? But it's a beautiful problem to figure out, right? It's a beautiful problem to figure out. I got these really dope women with these really incredible ideas, and they just love their family so much. Y'all love your family so much. You just want to be the best version of yourself for them as you build. We don't want to dismantle our families trying to hit any goals. And we also don't want to be angry, frustrated, exhausted, overwhelmed, resentful until the kids go to college. I personally want to opt out of all of that. If I start to feel overwhelmed, I'm like, it sounds like I need to go to bed early. Okay. So as I finish up, I just want you guys to know that everything that you see, everything you feel is totally available to you. It's totally available to you. Okay. It is the incredible experience of believing who God says you are and then taking action like you know it. Like at this point, I'm pitching all these new opportunities and collaborations, but it's because I believe who God says I am. Of course, it's for me. Of course, this is it. Of course, I'm the Olivia Pope for working moms. Of course. Of course, I need a TV show. Of course, right? Like, I just believe that so much internally. What do you believe about yourself? What do you believe about where you're going? Do you really feel that? Are you confident in it? So much so that you that you make moves, that you take steps forward, that you go all the way in because you know it's true. You just feel it inside. Okay. You dropped my notebook. So as I finish up, number one, Mamathon Conference, October 27th through the 29th in Atlanta. Okay. We got VIP Friday. That's for all of my existing clients. Okay. Maybe a favorite old client coming from Canada. All of my existing clients, on Friday, we're going to have a welcome reception for you guys. We're going to have coaching all day. You hear me? I'm talking about Friday. We're coming in, we're gathering in the morning, and we're going to be there problem solving all day together. Okay. So that is a bonus of love for my existing clients. Looking forward to seeing them, bringing everyone together, mastermind style. Okay. And then, of course, also the door is open. If you've been wanting to work with me, it's a really good time. Okay. We have so many incredible opportunities rolling out. I'm talking about producers asking me, who do I know that's an incredible, brilliant woman who be perfect fit for the show, for their TV show? And my mind always instantly goes to the women that are going to make me look good. The ones that I've worked with, right? So there's such a benefit in learning how to bring all of your ideas together. We're executing on them this year at the next level. We are not stalling and indecision. We're not buffering like the circle on your Amazon on the screen when you're watching Netflix and your internet is running slow because it's raining outside. Like, we're not sitting in any of this stuff. This is for the women who are ready to make moves. You're like, Christina just emails Essence and gets like, she just talks to them just like that. That's what you do. We just had our 4th Essence interview roll out this week. Last week. Essence twice this year, Forbes, I mean, I can't even Fox. Like we've had all kind of stuff rolling out. So it's not just about the productivity aspect of it. It's about you having some big ideas that you really want to work on, and you have to create a strategy around it. Okay. So these are the kind of women that I want to work with for the rest of the year. Really remarkable humans who are doing amazing things, and you know that you're the one slowing you down. It's what's going on in here and in here, and then you journal everything out, and you say all these affirmations, and your life is like, you better come up with a better strategy. And listen, I'm not knocking journaling or affirmations, but hey Jen, yes, I sure will. Right now we just have one, which is 6 months. Okay. I think we talked before. So it was a couple months ago. So I'll message you anyway and we'll talk about it. It's just the idea that there's so much more waiting for us. And I gotta get out of my own way to do it. I got to. Like I just have to. I don't want to slow my I'm gonna talk about myself. I don't want to slow my own progress down because I'm slow on making decisions. There's a lot of, and I talked to somebody yesterday at the event and she was so sweet. And I was like, listen, come to the conference this year. She's like, I'm going to pray about it. I said, the answer's right in front of you. I was like, I'm right here. And she was like, you know what? I said, anytime that I sit with someone for whatever reason, and I'm giving you answers, and I'm pushing into you, and I'm like, listen, this is the move you need to make. I firmly believe that God gives me wisdom, just like my husband, right? My husband's one of those very discerning people. So he's like, I'm like, God's talking to you right now. I'm right here in front of you, inviting you to something that I know is going to change your life. Like, I know it's going to change your life. And she was like, okay. I'm like, all right, don't play with me. We making moves. Lou said it's true. It changes your life. I can't even take credit. I can't even take credit for like how it does what it does, how the conference does it, the brilliance of the women there, how we like worship in the morning and then turn up in the evening. It is the balance. It's the intersection of all the things. It's you being the full component of your womanhood, but in a weekend. It's everything, right? But then on the other side of that, there's still so much work that we have to do leading up to it, after it. And so how we serve you guys, we just want to take that up to the next level this year. So the Friday is going to be the VIP. We're going to coach, right? Lude is coming all the way from Canada. And we're going to sit down together. We're just going to work on our problems and our strategy. And we're going to overcome what is it that's stalling us up in here. Okay. And then we're going to work that out in a concrete way to go forward. All right. So right now is a really great time for you to make some intentional moves. Okay. It is about to be August. We have 5 months left of the year. So everybody that comes on for 6 months, we're like working through January. Okay. Here's some extra value though that I really want to give my clients. Is probably starting in August or September, bringing you guys together like mastermind style too, so that you guys know each other and that y'all have people to walk forward with. Like it's not just, you and I will still meet one-on-one, but then you also have these other women around you to kind of gird you up and support you. So I'm just looking forward to doing that and how we just give so much value here. I'm excited. I love you guys. You all are epic and incredible. I am grateful for who you are here in this community. Thank you all for bringing your questions, your love for your family, because that's what is the catalyst to all of it. Okay, that's what's the catalyst. So we have the conference coming up October 27th through the 29th in Atlanta. And we have coaching available for you. Okay, ideally, we're talking about 6 months. Why 6 months? Okay, because I used to, at one point in time, talk about 4 weeks or 6 weeks. Lou, you remember this, like itemizing sessions, and you have to be able to go to and apply it to the point where it's automatic. Like you got to stay in it long enough that it becomes a permanent change. It just becomes permanent. It just sticks. It's like, okay, this is just who I am now. As opposed to okay, I did this for a month while I had Christina, and then I went back and started doing the same thing over again, right? Like even Lou, as she prepares to come back as a client again, she's been messaging me as part of her work, right? Like this inner work. She's like, Christina, I'm getting my mind right. Nothing has changed about my life yet, but my mind is on point. That is you still doing that inner work, even while we're not working together one-on-one, because we coached together long enough that it's stuck. You see what I'm saying? So there's just all these layers to it. I realized that I was shortcutting my clients because y'all needed more. You needed more than a month or 2 months. Y'all needed more time, right? To say, okay, is this our mental go-to? By the time we get to the conference VIP, I want to talk about like a decision making framework. Like, how do we make decisions and make them quickly? I do not want to stay and hover over choices for months. Like, I don't have to be your coach, right? Y'all here, you probably, listen, we just resonate, right? But sometimes we go back and forth trying to figure out who the person's going to be, and it's going to be 2024. What could have changed in your life in 6 months? I'm a firm believer in equipping the people in our life with critical thinking skills so that they can solve problems, and I get to take my intellectual prowess and move it over here to do stuff like plan this conference for 100 and something women in another state and still be sane for the most part. To make connections and media collaborations and working with nonprofits this year and all of this stuff. We're doing more work with Hyatt this year. All of these layers, I get to take my intellect and not use it to solve problems like cleaning the kitchen. We use it to solve problems in other places, okay? And I realize that in order to do that, it takes time. Your family needs time. You cannot just show up, pop up. Like, this is the way things are now, right, Lou? You can't just tell Chris, here, I'm totally changed. I'm totally fixed. I'm a different person now. Get used to it. He's like, no, ma'am. I've been looking at the same person for the last decade. How are you going to tell me now, as a result of a couple of coaching sessions, that this is not who you want to be now? You've been telling me that you were that person for the last 5 years, 10 years. It takes time to undo that and then become that different version. Okay. So I'm excited about what God is doing. I'm excited about what you all are doing. I believe fully in every possibility for you to become the entire baddie that you are dreaming about being. It is exciting. It is beautiful work. And I'm excited to be on this ride with you. Okay. As always, my DMs are open. Jen, I will reach out to you. There were some of the other ladies also who were leaving some comments. I'm just going to touch base with you guys. I'm glad that this was helpful for you tonight. Just Q&A, right? Like just answering questions, because we all have them. And everybody in the room, as I was closing out the session, I was like, does anybody have any questions? I'm right here. You can ask me anything. And the whole room was quiet. And then slowly somebody was like, I got a question. What about these kids and they're complaining? Somebody else put their hand up. So I got a question. What about when people need you for everything? I said, oh, that's a good one. Somebody else put their hand up. I didn't realize that I suck at finishing. That's why my kids don't finish stuff. Somebody else put a hand up. You telling me I need a whole coach in my life because I did not realize I was this person. It was like one after another. We're all the same. We all have so many of the same issues, right? But we are all a work in progress. And that is the beautiful work. Okay. So my DMs are open. Feel free to connect with me. Jen, I will message you. Lou, so good. Thank you for joining us tonight. Shamika, everybody else, Janisha, everyone who's here. Thank you all for hanging out. And we're just excited about what's coming next. Okay. Love y'all and have an incredible night.